In 2 months' time, this stadium behind me was supposed to be full of supporters and athletes here for the opening ceremony of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. However, after the Games were postponed in March, organisers are having to hastily rearrange the Games in just 1 year. So where do we currently stand? The first order of business for the organisers was setting new dates for the Games. This has now been done.
We have today set the dates for the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 to be celebrated in 21 from the 23rd of July to the 8th of August, and for the Paralympic Games from the 24th of August to the 5th of September.
However, after that it gets a little bit more complicated for Games organisers. First of all, how much is it going to cost to pay for the rearranged Games, and who's going to pay for it? The Games were initially budgeted to cost $12.6 billion, including $1.4 billion for the stadium behind me. But with rearranging the Games come extra costs. The International Olympic Committee have already said that they are happy to pay $800 million for their share of the costs. But the Tokyo Organising Committee and the Japanese government have yet to figure out a figure for what they're going to pay yet. This is partially because the organising committee is in negotiations with various venues around Tokyo that were set to host sports at the Olympics this summer. 43 venues, if you include the Athletes' Village, were expected to host events this summer for the Olympic Games. However, some of those are multi-purpose venues that will be booked out for summer 2021. For example, a couple of baseball stadiums that were going to be used during the Olympic Games are also used by Japan's professional baseball teams. They will be expecting to use it next summer. This remains one of the biggest obstacles for Games organisers at this stage. The most important part of any Olympic Games is the athletes. The IOC said when they made the decision to postpone the Games that a big reason for that was athlete safety. 10,000 athletes are expected to descend on Tokyo for the Olympic Games, with thousands more coming for the Paralympics afterwards. For those who have qualified already, the good news is that they can keep their place. They do not have to qualify again. However, lots of athletes work in 4-year cycles, building up towards an Olympic Games. So even the qualified athletes are going to have to adjust and alter their preparations for the Games in 1 year's time. Some sports hadn't finished the qualification process when the postponement decision was made. For these athletes, they remain in limbo and they are waiting to see when it is safe again for them to hold qualification events for Tokyo 2020. In order to offset the high cost of the Games, huge contracts worth billions of dollars are made between Games organisers, sponsors and television broadcasters. However, these deals were made with the Games expected to go ahead in 2020, not 2021. For example, for big broadcasters like NBC in America, who have spent billions of dollars on the rights to the Olympics, they were expecting to recoup that money from advertising already sold for their broadcast in the US. Likewise, sponsors like Visa or Panasonic have also factored in the cost of sponsoring a Games into their 2020 figures. They're now going to have to adjust for 2021. The decision to postpone the Games is unprecedented. It's never happened before in Olympics history. It leaves the organisers with facing a unique challenge that nobody expected at the beginning of this year. Organisers are hopeful that in 2021 they can still deliver a Games that Tokyo and the world are proud of.